everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to another project for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team. Today I am using the incredible Sunkissed collection. I have a couple of photos of myself and my son on a ride at a theme park, and it was definitely nice, warm weather out in the sun, so Sunkissed is perfect. Now, the last project I shared for Cocoa Vanilla Studio was my signature style layout, so this time I thought I would go a little out of my comfort zone and use some techniques that I don't often use. So I'm starting with some white cardstock, which is definitely not my preferred background. I'm definitely a pattern paper background kind of girl, but I have just trimmed this down slightly and now I'm matting it on a thin border of pattern paper. This is that beautiful red to yellow ombre. I'm just adding a bit of tacky glue to hold that in place. I am going to go off camera in a minute and do some machine stitching all the way around the outside edge of that white cardstock. And then I will just come back. There we go, that's all done. I did mess that up a little bit down at the bottom of my page, but I am just going to cover that up with an embellishment cluster. My bobbin ran out of thread and it all tangled, so not my fault, but there you go. Now I have my two photos and I'm just going to mat these on some more pattern papers. So that is the nice big navy 12 by 12 and some of that pink love heart print. So those are both off the 12 by 12 pattern papers. I've just cut those down. I just use those because those are ones I've used to cut files on and back cut files with. So I have just used up some of my scraps there. I've also gone into the cut apart sheet and I've cut out, I was considering that sunshine one, but I decided to go with fun in the sun. I just really like that sentiment for my title. I think it works really well. It's very appropriate. And now I'm going to do something that I don't do at all. I don't think I've ever really done, and that is some ink blending. So I have just recently got some new blending tools and I wanted to have a play with them. And I also have this hexagon stencil, which I thought would be a bit of fun. So I've just gone through and traced where all my photos and title card is going to sit so that I know where to put my ink. And I've got three different colours of Distress Oxides there. So I've got a yellow, a aqua and a nice bright pink. So I'm just going to kind of alternate between those. And I'm just using a little foam, domed foam ink blending tool thing there, and I'm just blending that through the stencil. And yep, so this is where one of my little clusters is going to go, so I've just lined that up there, and I've just brought in my little messy mat here because I forgot to do that from the beginning and I don't want to get ink all over my desk. So I'm just going around and blurring out those edges, trying to get a nice soft blurred out edge. There we go. I'm going to speed this up in a second. Yep, so here we go. I'm just going to speed up the rest of this because it is essentially just the same thing. I'm just going around with the different colours. So if you're wondering what coloured inks I'm using, the yellow one is Scattered Straw, the bluey tealy aqua one is Peacock Feathers, and the pink one is Picked Raspberry. So I'm just cleaning off my stencil in between the colours. I didn't clean it off after the yellow because it's quite pale and it didn't really make much difference. And I wasn't too worried if my blue ended up looking more green. But for the brighter colours, I'm definitely cleaning off my stencil in between. And just using a baby wipe, it comes off really nicely. I really love these Distress Oxide inks. So I'm just going around kind of all the way around the outside of my little clusters. I'm not being too careful about lining the stencil up or anything. I just really wanted to make sure at the bottom there that my title card would be kind of surrounded by inks because it's white and my background is white as well. So I just really wanted it to stand out a little more. So now I'm just coming in and sticking all my photos and my title card down. I'm just adding adhesive to the middle though of the photo and the title card so that when I come through with my embellishments I can tuck those around the edges. And I am going to just distress the edges of this card as well, just to help the edges stand out from the background a little bit more. If I hadn't already stuck down my photos, I would have done the edges of my photo mats as well with the distressing, but I'd already stuck them down, so I didn't bother. Alright, so that's just going to overlap slightly, just like that. I really love this. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Alright, now I'm going through all my little stacks of embellishments, and I decide to go with some floral die cuts, of course. I love the floral die cuts in this collection. So I've just pulled all those out. That is the remains of a packet that I have mostly gone through, but I still have quite a few left, so I'm just going to build a little cluster down here to cover up that stitching mistake. And I think 3 flowers and then a leaf, and I do decide to use that leaf off that clear sticker sheet, but I'm going to put that down last because once I stuck that down they're hard to lift up. So I'll build a little floral cluster at the top of this photo as well. It's just a nice natural space for it to sit inside that corner, and I've got to sneak that yellow flower in somewhere so it ends up at the top there. And then off to the side here as well is where I'll build another little cluster. So loving those florals, and then I think I'll use that, yep, that little sprig of orange. These will move around a little bit as I go ahead and glue them down, but not really very much. That is pretty much where they're going to go. And then I looked at my wood buttons and realized that I had 3 of these tiny ones left, so I just went ahead and stuck one of those down to the center of a floral in each of those clusters. Really love those, they're so cute. And I am going to come into the cut apart sheet again here just to cut off one of the labels. I just wanted a small spot to journal, and that is going to tuck really nicely just below that photo there, and gives me just enough space to do a couple of lines of journaling without being too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that right down. I really like where that is sitting. And then I found this slice of orange or lemon, and I really liked the kind of like bright summery feel of it, so I've just cut it in half and I'm going to tuck it either side of in amongst my cluster here. I really like that. I did look at some of the other fruit in the die cut ephemera, but I thought I didn't want to overwhelm the page. So I'm just snipping off the bottom of that floral so that it doesn't run off the page. And then this one I'm going to pop up on a bit of foam before I stick it down. And then I'm going to start gluing everything down. So I'm pretty happy with how my embellishments are looking at the moment. And from here on, I don't want things to move around too much. So I'm just going to start gluing down. I'm using some tacky glue. And I tend just to glue down the center part of all my embellishments so the edges still have a little bit of dimension. So there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to speed this up super fast for you so you don't have to watch the whole process. I did pop in a tab at the top of my top photo there, you can see that. And I am going to add some foam just to the back of this little flower as well, just to pop that up a little bit. And then I'm going to pull in those clear stickers and pop in that last leaf that I have down there because I was planning to do that all along, and now that everything is stuck down I can pop that down. And then I wanted to add some puffies. I thought about adding some fruit, but I don't know, I couldn't make it work, so I just decided to add some of the hearts, which I could do with a whole sheet of these little puffy hearts. Honestly, I love them and I've used them so much. So I'm just going to add 3 little groups of 2 across my page here, just little sprinkler bits. I love that. And then I'll grab my pen and pop in those lines of journaling that I wanted to add. So I think it's just on the flying banana ride or something like that. Something like that. And then I am going to pop in 3 of the tiny word stickers off the accessory sticker sheet because I love these. So 1 below my journaling, 1 just in amongst this floral cluster here, and then 1 on the other opposing floral cluster just here. And that will be my layout all finished. Definitely not my usual style, but I'm really, really pleased with it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to check out the blog post where you can read about all the different materials I used. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.